In the previous video, you learned how to do an overlay, a white overlay like you see here in this situation, where we have the text here and then we have this with some opacity, meaning that the background of this JPEG can come through some and we can see some of that. So we created one of those, and now what we need to do is to actually add that text. So what I'm showing you now is to show you how to lay text over the top of that that triangle, or that square there, where you can actually then lay your text over the top of that. So that way you'll have an end product like we have right here, which is essentially a title slide. And once you have it created, then you can just drag it right over here and it'll go over the top of the JPEG. Here's the JPEG right here that I'm going to click on here, and then what's going to be on top. And later we'll show you some transitions, and the transitions will allow you to slowly bleed in, as you notice here, and then it will be full color, and then it will have a transition back out again. Let's look at how we do that. If we look over here in the media area, where our media browser, in our project, all of our projects, components of the project, the videos that we have, and you remember last time we created this white overlay, and we're going to open that up in just a minute. But before we do, I gave it a wrong title earlier. We're just going to call this an overall title. So I just went and I just clicked down there to rename this, and I'm just going to go in there and just get rid of that, and we're just going to call it a title. Now that we've renamed the title more appropriately, and that way we'll know what it is for the future, we can go in here and double click on this, so we can then edit and add text over the top of this white background that we've created here with a certain amount of opacity. To do that, we're going to go over to the left to the type tool, and we're going to select the type tool, and I'm not going to make a text box go all the way across, because I just want to put in the word churches. So I'm going to go ahead and start typing. And if you'll notice, it made it a blue because that's what I've used previously. And this time I would like to change that. And it selected also the font that I've used the previous time. And that's just one that I have in my library. But you can use any font that you want. You don't have to go with any particular one. I would strongly recommend that videos typically appear better and work better with sans serif fonts. When I say sans serif, I mean that they don't have like Times is a serif font, meaning it has the little swigglies on the edges and things. Arial is a good example of a sans serif font. Another one would be Avenir. Another one would be Gill Sans MT. Another one would be there's so many different ones. As we scroll down through here, Calibri is a good example of a sans serif font. Those are the types of fonts that don't have all the extra business going on. They have very simple. If you look here, over here on the right, the word churches, it's very clear and easy to read. There's no extra materials there that kind of complicate the reading. It makes it a lot quicker and easier to read. I do have the font color that we used in the previous, whenever I created the previous Churches of Russia. If you'll notice that blue right in there, this blue, I do have those settings for that, and I want to show you how you would do that in case you ever want to use exact colors. If let's say that you went to work for a company and the company told you that their colors are a specific scheme, then we would go in, and they do that for branding purposes. That way there's always consistency in their colors that they use. So if we go here to the fill color, that's the color of the text in this case. And if we select this box, then let's say that someone told us that our fill color was 15 for the red. So the R would be 15, so I can even type in there 15. And then the other one was, the green was 28, and then the blue setting was 62. If you mix those three colors together, 15 parts of red, 28 parts of green, and 62 parts of blue, then you'll end up with this blue color, and that's what we're going to select, that one. Now that we have the churches ready and it's that same exact color, anytime that we add another text box, it's going to have those same color settings preserved. We're going to go, and what I want to do is just go ahead and pull this up so it won't be in the way. As long as I don't pull it up any higher, that would then cut off the word churches. But we're just going to leave it right here. Next, we're going to go in and get another text box, and we're just going to go in and add, so I can put in the word of. And if we just type the word of, now we can center it within that box. We can center just like you would on any paragraph. We're going to go in and select of and select center it. So the eye will be led down the screen. If you start on the left and go inwards like this, it will lead the eye down the screen. And then we just need to add one more text box with the type tool. We'll go back in one more time, click one more time, and I'm going to go over all the way to the far left line and drag all the way across like this, and we're going to add in Russia, the name Russia. Once again, we're going to center that text by going up and clicking up here on the paragraph center marks. And I'm going to, while the cursor's there blinking, I'm going to select Russia. And this time we want it to be larger. So we're going to go in here and make the font size, instead of a 75, as it was previously in the words churches of, we can go in here and either click and drag until it becomes 100. Anytime that the text is blue there, we can just click and drag. And notice now that it's 100. And that's how we got all of that accomplished. One other thing that I have that we did adjust some is here under aspect. That helps to spread it out some. So if I were to click there, I could actually make it where, if you'll notice how Russia is kind of spreading out, making it a little bit larger. So that's what that does right in there. And it puts emphasis on the word Russia. So that's how we create a text overlay. Once again, we just go in and we always select right there the type tool, drag, and make a text box essentially wherever you want the text box to be, and then begin typing. But then you may want to go back and edit your font or set your font in advance. If you want your font to be bolded, then this is where you would do those types of things with some of the different settings here, bold and italics, all of that. And then you have a lot of different things if you know a lot about text editing, as far as what the leading and kerning and tracking, then you could actually adjust those also. So this is how you would set that up. Now that you have that created, if I close this, it preserves everything. It's still here. And now at this point, I'm going to pull out one from a previous demonstration. I'm going to then just pull the thumbnail. This is just like a thumbnail, and pull it over and lay it over the top of that JPEG. And now we have the same thing that we did earlier that I showed you at the beginning. There it is right there, and essentially that's the same thing. So that's how that works. And now what we can do is to show you how to add the transitions a little bit later with the text. So that way you can have a transition where that shows up right here whenever we take the playhead and we pull in. Notice how the whole thing fades in. That's going to be one of the next things that we're going to show you how to do.